73 and 11 breakdown, where we break down everything Knicks and Mavericks from a non-biased fan perspective. I got my man Jay Dallas to my left. He's gonna be the Mavs co-host. I'll be your Knicks co-host. And this is a great day for Knicks fans.
I'm gonna be biased. I don't know what he talking about.
We ain't even worried about him today. They at home. You feel me? But I want to jump right into it. Jay, how you feeling, man?
Man, it's bittersweet. I can't lie. As a fellow New Yorker, I love the vibes. I just hate my boy JB had to leave to get the chip. Respected though, the city is lit. I appreciate my guy getting y'all that chip.
Yeah, man. Back in the Villanova days, I told you about that man. Now he brought my favorite college team a chip, my favorite pro team a chip. So that might be the GOAT. Might be the Knicks GOAT. What you think about that? Everyone's saying he the GOAT with the Knicks, the greatest Knick all time.
Best Knick ever.
Best Knick ever.
Best Knick ever.
Yeah. Best Knick ever. Okay.
Best Knick ever. Greatest Knick ever. OG Anunoby.
Oh, so
we gonna talk about that.
Yeah. Nah, OG, he did his thing, man. Shout out to the Knicks. As we go through this, this breakdown, we'll definitely talk about everything with the postseason. Today we're really just gonna break down the finals, and we're gonna talk about some Mavs stuff later in the episode. But we kind of want to touch on like what made us start this. So 73-11, obviously that's the we thought of this prior to the Knicks winning the championship. So it's been a long time coming. A couple months we've been in the thought process for this, and 73 is obviously when the Knicks won. 2011 is when the Mavs won their championship. So we wanted to pay homage to those teams, but we're not going to change the name of the show now just because, 25, 26 Knicks got it done. Yeah. But, your thought process going into this, Jay, what were you thinking?
I mean, it's been a long time coming. We've been talking about making a pod and doing other stuff, but we love talking basketball. We talk basketball all day, every day, and why not make content out of it? Since youngins, we've been going back and forth, Knicks and Mavs, Kobe, AI, so we're going to talk shop with our teams that we love and, talk a little, talk a little shit to each other. Now that the vibes is back with the chip, we can really do that. And hopefully, as we go on and get further down the line, our supporters and other Knicks and Mavs fans can tune in and create a nice little rivalry. Maybe the league will hear about us someday and get this little rivalry going.
Yeah, it's funny because we've been saying since I can remember that it was going to be Knicks and Mavs in the finals. We were 2 years away from that. They made it in 24. It was 24, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they made it in 24. We made it this year. So, it's getting closer to that. Obviously, they got some things they're figuring out on their end. We got a lot that we got to figure out this offseason. But in the meantime, we're celebrating. So I really want to, let's jump right into it. Let's break down this finals matchup. Another day we'll go through the entire season and the entire playoffs.
Yeah.
But for the finals, I want to go game by game and really break down kind of how everything went and what worked for the Knicks, what went well for the Spurs. Obviously, like we said, it's a non-biased perspective, so there's going to be some points of this where I got to say some things about the Knicks I don't want to, but they won, so I can say it now. But game one for you, what was your thought process going into this series from a perspective of a non-fan? Obviously, y'all got a little rivalry with the Spurs, but what was your thought process going into this matchup?
See, now I have to put my bias aside because we don't like to see the Spurs win, obviously. But belt to ass, New York belt to ass. I feel like Wemby and the Spurs are a good team, but just watching the series, first round, second round, the Knicks were serious. They came, they know what they wanted to do. They've been here, well, not here, but they've been in the playoffs for a few years now, and, they just had unlucky possessions to cost them get into the chip. And this year there was really no mistakes. And that first game, after seeing Game 7 with OKC, it just looked like they were playing two different games. One was looking for the chip, and one looked like they already had their chip. or just drop the ball, drop a little focus on after that conference finals. But yeah, game one, I thought the Knicks were just gonna win. There was nothing stopping them from winning, and nothing stopped them.
Yeah. So going into the finals, as a Knicks fan, and this is also for those that don't know, I coached college basketball for 7 seasons, so I kind of look at the game a little different sometimes. I look at it from a player's perspective, a coaching's perspective. I try to look at it in different lenses to see if I'm tripping or not. And going into the finals, I really didn't see a way for the Spurs to beat us. And the reason I say that, and it had nothing to do with talent, it had everything to do with experience and execution. And watching how the Knicks went through the playoffs up until that point, they were executing at such a high level. And it was more so after that Atlanta series where they switched up the offense a little bit and they came together and realized what was going to work for their personnel. They kind of were still playing Brunson ball up until that point, and I personally think Mike Brown was trying to hold on to some offenses and some things within his playbook until he had to use it, and I think he was trying to wait to use it against Boston. Boston obviously didn't get there, but Atlanta pulled the Knicks card early, and it forced them to have to use their offense earlier. They kind of thought that they could get through Atlanta playing the same way that they were playing throughout the season. And Atlanta, they punched them in the mouth, even though it was only 1-point wins. They kind of shocked the Knicks in the sense of they won those 2 games. So now Mike Brown's like, all right, let's not even mess around with this series no more. Let's go. Let's pull out what, you feel me, pause. Let's put together our offense that we've been working on in practice or wherever they were doing it, and let's get this series out the way. And you see when they switched to that offense, it changed their entire dynamic around. Now, just reverting back to the finals, like I was saying, if you watch some of the earlier season games against the Spurs, what the Knicks did well is they used the Spurs' aggression against them. So they overplayed, they were being physical with Brunson, and the fact that they were such a physical team and they overplayed a lot, that's how they were able to get OG with a lot of backdoor cuts. Mikal Bridges was able to get into that mid-range. Cat really didn't, I don't even think, if I remember correctly during the season, Cat didn't really play super well against them, but he negated Wemby by bringing him out the paint. So now, instead of him being that roamer on the backside and being that free safety, it's pulling him out and making him kind of go east and west. So he's trying to guard people from one wing to the other, and that's where they were able to get closeout situations and stuff like that. So that was my thought process going into the finals. And in a lot of the games, it did happen. It didn't happen in the first half for some of them. But once Wemby got a little bit tired and the Knicks started like targeting him, which is crazy to target the defensive player of the year, but they did that, and that's how they were able to get him in closeout situations with like OG. And who else was on the wing sometimes? Mikal Bridges had him in closeout situations, getting to that mid-range. So I figured they would win the series. I ain't gonna lie, I did say it was gonna be a sweep. They was sweeping shit. You feel me? They was getting them out of here. So I'm just like, all right, it's gonna be just a closer sweep. It ain't gonna be blowouts, but they gonna sweep them. And that was the bias side of me thinking. But it turned out, still 4-1, even though the games were close. Spurs, they had those big leads, but going into game 1, just seeing the Knicks kind of, I think the athleticism of the Spurs shocked them at first, because they came in with that same intensity that they played OKC with.
Yeah.
And I think it shocked them a little bit because they was playing Donovan Mitchell and Embiid and all of them, which is good teams, because I don't think the West is better than the East. That's another conversation for another day. But it's a different dynamic. Yeah, it was a different dynamic. And it that first quarter kind of punched the Knicks in the mouth a little bit in game 1. But they bounced back right away in quarter 2, and I think at halftime, I can't remember how much they were down, but it was a single-digit game. And I think game 1, especially when it came down to crunch time, and the Knicks kind of took off because they won that first game by 10, I believe it was, they shocked San Antonio in the sense of San Antonio thought that it was going to be a cakewalk. Yeah. And that put everything into perspective for them.
They thought it was sweet. They beat the champs. They was rolling on a high. But them boys was rolling off of something else because they had their breaks. Chill. They had their breaks. They was sweeping shit, well rested. They can. It's hard to really determine who you're gonna play when it's 7 games, but they had a plan for both teams. They played the Spurs. They know how the Spurs play. OKC, I play OKC great. So you play more games with San Antonio, and you had a game plan. And once that fourth quarter ended and the Western Conference champs were crowned, it was, let's get to it. We know what to do. We got the game plan, and coming off of fresh legs. Even though it did look a little wicked, JB getting banged up. That boy, he got heart and he came back, started whooping shit. Yeah. And they were just more prepared. The older team, they've been there. You know, Spurs relying on their freak athlete, their freak alien, and it didn't work out. But it's okay, because it was one game, and until it wasn't okay. Game 2, I thought was going to be different. I thought y'all was going to lose. But in Knick fashion, when I watch, a lot of things go wrong, and then when that fourth quarter comes, you know, Mr. Fourth Quarter shows why he's Mr. Fourth Quarter and the clutches.
But game 2, that was different though. Game 2, because remember, game 2, JB didn't shoot well. That was when the Knicks gave up their lead. Because remember, the Knicks went up big in the fourth quarter, and they was up 14 actually that game, and then the Spurs went on that 14-0 run to tie it up. And I think with the Knicks, that game, they kind of, I don't know how they gave up that lead. I would have to go back and watch the game, but I remember vividly the Spurs they just buckled down defensively, and Dylan Harper started playing well. Wemby kind of exerted himself, and they cut that lead quick. That 14-point lead got cut quick, and that was a game that the Spurs they were supposed to win. Wemby has that turnover at the end after JB took the, I forget if it was a pull-up or something that he took and missed, but that was the game they were supposed to get. Once they went down 2-0, I knew because they were such a young team, they didn't really understand the magnitude of the finals, which works in their favor both ways. So it hurts them because they don't understand time and possession, but also because they're so young and they don't understand the magnitude, they also don't give a fuck at the end of the game. So they're gonna take some of them ballsy shots that most veterans not gonna take, and when they miss them, they're gonna look crazy. But when they hit them, they go like them. Some of them plays Dylan Harper where he was taking at the end. He was finishing some of them, and it looks like, oh, this kid got guts. But other times, like yesterday when he smokes the layup at the end, where they needed that, it wasn't a bad take, but it was maybe, pull it out and try to run something real quick. Try to get a quick shot, but also a quality shot.
I think it was his confidence, man. It was a roller coaster ride for him because he was a big factor. He was playing well for them throughout the playoffs, and then even in game 1, he was playing well and then gets benched in the fourth quarter. Game 2, he's playing well, gets benched, but his confidence is shaking because he's like, yo, I'm helping, I'm really doing something, and playing behind De'Aaron Fox, who, even though he came back in the Western Conference Finals, he's coming off hurt, and he gets to make his mistakes because obviously he's proven he's been here. But you don't let the young guy play through his mistakes. More mistakes are bound to happen, especially when you got somewhere averaging 10 turnovers, and he still gets the floor. It's like, yo, I'm not even really playing bad, but
I'm gonna do a whole breakdown on Castle. That's another day. I love Castle game.
Yeah.
I'm a Big East fan just because of Villanova, so I like to go for them Big East teams. So I've been watching him for a couple of years. But them 10 turnovers,
I was telling for game 1, I told you, I was like, yo, it's Cook. If he gonna turn the ball over like this, New York's gonna capitalize on all these opportunities. And he was like, nah, bro, it's one game. I was like, you right. It was one game. I'm holding, I'm holding him to a high standard. I like Stephon Castle, 5 gang, and game 2, another 9, and it's like, Dylan gets to see this, and he can't play through his mistakes.
You talking about in the Western Conference Finals?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then get into the finals, he still can't play through his mistakes, but he was a big factor. And then just closing out those games, you need to go with what works.
Mm-hmm.
And I really think this whole series really was just about coaching and the heart of the players. And Mike did his thing, and so did them Knicks.
Yeah. So I want to talk about Game 3. So the game that the Knicks lose at the crib. Obviously, going into that game, it was a lot going on. Before we get to the breakdown of the game, do you think everything that went on outside of the game affected the Knicks specifically?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Vibes is at an all-time high. Even before stealing the first 2 games, you get to the finals, and it's been a little minute. The fans are at an all-time high, and I personally think they can hear that outside. The players can hear them going crazy outside, and you take that away, and the energy is just off. The people who were in that arena probably weren't real diehard fans. They're probably there just because they got the money.
Mm-hmm.
The Knicks is hot right now, so let's go.
That's the thing to do.
Yeah, let's go to the game. And real fans, I don't really remember, but I don't know if I heard no Deuce or nothing.
Well, Deuce wasn't doing shit.
Well, true, but
Respect, Deuce. If you see
but
this, I'm fine.
the real fans didn't get to bring the energy.
Yeah.
And playing in the playoffs, the Knicks, they feel that. They feel the energy. You know, it messes with the opposing team. You know, you probably can't really hear much. I don't know. I'm not on the court, but it brings a different vibe. And to not be able to be outside and attend the watch party, having people have to come to the game hours early to go through all the security checkpoints and stuff, that already puts a bad taste in the mouths of the fans. And then the actual players are like, dang, vibes are kind of off. Nobody really screaming how they should be screaming and cheering. And this is our first home game in the finals in years.
Yeah.
And Jordan couldn't bring her bag.
They was tripping.
Yeah.
See, the thing that I think really, because I think it was savable up until a certain point. It was savable until they when they were doing the national anthem and they put the president on the big screen and they booed him. And the reason I say that is because the beginning of the game is supposed to be all positive vibes. Man. So if you start in the game with boos in your home arena, off rip, they're like psychologically that could bring you down in your home arena. And I feel like that didn't affect the Spurs because you're supposed to get booed at it. So they're used to hearing the boos in somebody else's arena.
And coming from somebody who recently heard a lot of boos in their home arena, it definitely takes a toll. Yeah. I've been to the game when they throw Nico on the screen and you just hear the boos, and it sucks. Yeah, it sucks because the players know it ain't for them, but it's still not, like you said, that high octane energy and positive vibes coming into the game before tip off. Yeah. And it messed the vibes up.
Yeah. So now gameplay, as bad as it was, especially like as a fan watching it, it ended up being a 4-point game at the end. Like they ended up losing by 4, and it really was a winnable game. I think De'Aaron Fox actually ironically hit a shot to pretty much solidify it, but OG plays well that game. He has 28. Brunson got going a little bit towards the end, and it was a winnable game, but I think the Knicks needed to lose it to kind of get refocused and kind of, when you're on the 14-game winning streak at that point, it's so easy to be like, we never gonna lose again. Like we just gonna pack them up. We went in their crib 1-2. So that game, it didn't look much different to any of the other games because the series itself, it was an entertaining series. but it wasn't the best played series basketball-wise from either team,
Yeah,
which I love. I love the fact that it wasn't a perfect series because as a basketball fan, it gave me that 90s, early 2000 vibes again, where it was super physical. They were calling flagrants. Well, they were half calling flagrants when they don't get me started on that. But just the fact that we were able to see some physical basketball, some shot making, low percentage, shooting field goal percentages. As crazy as this is going to sound, I like that because efficiency basketball. This is going to sound crazy coming from a former coach. Efficiency basketball has, I think, took away from the essence of the game a little bit, where everyone wants to. I think some of these legends were created off of taking wild shots.
Yeah.
And I say that
sure.
because you look at the Kobe's, the MJs, a lot of them iconic shots they got were some bullshit shots, but they had the balls to take them, and 2 or 3 people guarding them, and you specifically, I want to give an example. When Kobe, I think they might have been like the 7th seed, and they were playing the Suns, and it was overtime, and he gets the inbounds. He dribbles from the inbounds across court to his spot. I think it was the right elbow. And he pulls up on about 3 Suns players. Cashed it, do his little. That's a bad shot, but it's a fire shot. And it's a shot that me as a player, I'm taking that shot. You know who I grew up loving. Jamal Crawford, T-Mac, Kobe once I got a little bit older. Bad shot takers, but shot makers. And I think efficiency basketball, even though it is better to watch, and you get the shades that shoot 60% as a guard. Bron does what he do. Yeah. It's good for basketball, but I think when it gets down to these games in the finals, and the team knows you, they're studying you, and you got 2 weeks to win 4 games, you're not going to get good looks. Yeah. So you got to be able to be a shot maker, and that's what you saw with Brunson specifically, shooting them tour dates. He was comfortable shooting the tour date because that's just kind of what he does. Even though he's an efficient player, as a guard, he shoots 50% most of the time.
Yeah, I'm rocking with you on that because those moments really make players. And JB has always been a big moment player. College, his days on the Mavs, he had his moment. And ever since then, he's had a moment with the Knicks. And the stats don't tell the whole story of the game. Like we can easily go look at JB shooting shitty couple of games until he turns that switch on in the fourth quarter, and I'm taking these shots because I'm getting warm, and now it's over.
Yeah.
And yeah, you can't have somebody that's afraid to take bad shots because you will be sitting on the bench.
Facts.
Watching somebody else take a bad shot.
Unless you do. Do some shots was crazy, my boy. I ain't gonna lie. But, I watch 82 games every year plus playoffs. Deuce takes those shots every game.
We need volume and streaky shooters.
Off the dribble, and he shot damn near 44% from 3. So I know a lot of people, they seen some of them shots Deuce took and was like, what is he doing? He shoots those and he makes them.
But that's the difference between a bad shot taker and a streaky volume shooter. They work on their games. And just because it's Miles McBride and it's not a 5-star celebrity name in the NBA, that don't mean he's not in the gym working on those shots.
Exactly.
And I guarantee you, everybody on that team watching him take them shots, it's like, oh, this is going to go in. And if it does, it's rocking. But if it doesn't, it's like, yo, we know that's him. He works on those shots.
Right.
That's why nobody's doing the Luka. So when you work on your game like that and you're a risk taker and a bad shot maker, and that's going to happen.
So, obviously, like I mentioned, they lose that game by 4. Going into game 4 in the Garden, the second home game, the vibes, Knicks fans, once we see an L, we kind of, because we had so much trauma in the past, the vibes was low after that game for some fans. Other fans, real fans that watch the Knicks, we understand how resilient they are. So it really didn't waver most of us, but obviously people that just kind of followed them during the run, which is valid. I'm not one of those people that say if you want to cheer for the Knicks and you in New York, do it. But those people kind of had low vibes because they're used to hearing people say the Knicks are going to lose. They signed the third. So there was a lot of negative energy after that game 3. Just from looking on like social media, speaking to people when I see them around that know I'm a Knicks fan. But going into that game 4, I don't think the players had low vibes, but they came in like they had low vibes. Going down 27 in the first half, the Spurs had hella confidence. They came in with the mentality that they were going to tie that series up and probably, try to win 4 straight. That was really how they came out that game. Wemby looked like he was comfortable. Dylan Harper he's a baller. Castle was hooping that game. That was a game he was.
That boy started off torching.
Going crazy. And I don't know what it was with the Knicks. They just couldn't hit shots that game.
I know what it was. Just because I'm watching different, my guys ain't in there. I have little skin in the game. That's home team. I always want to see them win besides, a very specific team. But JB's also my guy. Mm-hmm. And the whole series, it played out the same exact way. Show up for tip-off and don't play until halftime. Well, you don't really start playing until halftime, but they started off slow every single game in this series. Either from just missing shots, taking stupid shots, or just careless turnovers. Like, that game 3 back home was like, yo, what JB, what you doing?
Yeah,
you just giving the ball away.
They was happy as fuck to be back home.
And
but I got a theory on why the game started why they did. Not a theory, but just from watching what I noticed, I really think the Knicks, they played better in the second half. But I think when they came out, the Spurs were coming out so aggressive. They were coming out at a pace that they couldn't sustain the whole game.
Facts.
So it was kind of like a boxing thing where you come out and you let your opponent punch themselves out. And I think that's what the Knicks were doing. Like, yo, let's stay steady. When Wemby goes out, we're going to make our run because he's going to get tired. And Castle's not going to be able to guard Brunson like this the whole game. Harper's not going to be able to be physical like this on Brunson the whole game. De'Aaron Fox, like, they're not going to be able to do this and turn me up the court 94 feet the whole time, be super physical. Eventually, as tired as I'm getting from them being physical with me, they're going to get tired. Yeah. So if you notice, as the games went on, they were still picking them up full court, but it was being less effective as the game go on. I think they were, like I said, using the boxing mentality. They were punching themselves out. Yeah. They were using all them, they were throwing haymakers in the first half, and you get to that second half, and that's what happened in game 4 to me. They punched themselves out in the first half, hitting all them threes, 14 threes, breaking a first half record for the finals. And then when you get to the third quarter, the Knicks were going on little runs. They were going on a 7-0 run. Then they'll hit a little shot here. 9-0 run. They'll hit a shot here. So they cut the lead, but they didn't cut the lead fast. They steadily, kind of
chipped away
at it. And by the end of that third quarter, they had it down to 14. I believe it was 14.
Yeah.
Once they got to 14, I sat up in my seat. I said, "Oh yeah, they done fucked up. They got that man." And OG started. He got hot. He went 7 for 9
7
for 3
or 8.
Yeah, he was 7 because he went 5 for 5 in the second half.
Yeah.
And they started getting rolling. They go into the fourth quarter only down 14. I'm like, that's nothing. They could definitely come back from that. And they did the same thing in the fourth where they didn't go on a big run. They were little runs. And the Spurs were just...
And the runs were... It was like a heartbreaking dagger. It was dagger after dagger. Just that stab and that little twist to add a little extra oomph to it. But watching that game, I ain't gonna lie. I had to relocate, bro. Me and Shorty went to the bar, chilling. Vibes was lit in there. Energy was high. And just the mistakes. And I'm just like, yo, what's going on? So I look at him, I'm like, yo, we gotta dip. We gotta go to the crib because everybody in here, even though I'm not diehard Knicks fan. Everybody in there was faking, like they weren't real Knicks fans, and I could feel. I'm like, yo, the energies are off.
And shit like
Yeah,
that.
there was a bartender when we went. The same dude was there. I know he a fan. He was really
Oh,
into
you went to
it.
the spot. We have,
Yeah.
that dude.
So I was just like, we just need different energy. Let's just go home, get comfortable, because I ain't gonna lie, watching it was like they done fucked up again. But I realized, I'm like, yo, they've been playing like this. This series has been a script from game one.
Fact.
They come out strong. We know the game is about runs. They go on their run, and they could never keep it. And I told her it was, I don't remember what y'all was down, but y'all was down at probably like 18. And I'm like, it's too early. It's still too early. And we go to the crib, turn the game on immediately, and I'm just watching, and I'm waiting. A little, like you said, a little 7-0 run here and there, that little dagger 3, a little easy scoop lay here
get to
and
the
there.
OG. Russell pulled that dumbass 3, which was actually a good 3. And I'm
We not even
gonna do film breakdown.
We not even gonna warm up to it. Bodega was over there, dagger corner 3, and I'm like, 4 points. It's over. And then once it got to 4, after that 3, it was like, it's over. Like everything even leading up to that, it was like you could just see the souls of this.
Yeah.
It was just it's just tough because when you winning,
what we used to say. The Spurs, they had some bitching.
Yeah,
that shit started coming up. It's always gonna creep up out you.
Yeah,
and it started creeping, and the wings started coming out.
Once you see that 29 go to 18, like damn.
Yeah.
And then it goes back up 24, 16. It's like
7.
the vibe started to change. Yeah, 7, and then to go down 4, it was over.
Yeah.
Like it just completely took the life out of them, and then that's when the hero ball comes out.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna make the moment, and the league was trying to make Wemby's moment, and being young and not experienced, that moment turned into a bad moment, and everybody broke down, tried to play hero ball. There's no reason the Knicks go on a run and you take 3 after 3 after 3. Yeah, you was hitting them in the first half, but it's a new half, a new quarter, a new dynamic. It's 0-0. Even though you up 29, it's 0-0. And they didn't have that mentality. They was young. They just thought, we gonna...
It was young coaching, too. And
True.
I don't think... A lot of people got on Mitch Johnson.
Rightfully so, bro.
No, rightfully so. I wasn't about to...
Rightfully so.
He was definitely not...
He was
coaching.
bullshit.
He was not coaching his ass off, I'll tell you that.
He pulled his Darvin Ham out.
But what I can say is the players still got to play.
Yeah.
And we don't know what Mitch Johnson was telling them in the huddle. I know damn sure he was not saying them threes that you shoot is fire. He was not saying that. I don't even have to be in that huddle to know that. Just knowing coaching, he might not have been saying anything productive, but I know he wasn't saying that. And I think when it came down to it, it was execution at the end. Obviously, the De'Aaron Fox play. We're going to touch on that a little bit later. But the Knicks kind of won the series in that game because they kind of took, once you lose a lead of 29, your soul kind of gets, it was the same thing as game 1 in the conference finals where the Cavs' whole soul went with that 22-point lead. You've seen it.
On top of just being trash.
And it was dirt, and James Harden just don't play D. That's a whole nother story. But I think just to wrap game 4 up so we could quickly touch on the championship game, OG gets the tip in, which is probably going to be the best offensive rebound in the New York Knicks history. The game was lovely. OG was MVP of that game, even though Brunson had 36. Yeah. OG stepped up and did what he needed to do.
OG solidified his greatness there.
That's a
and
fact.
Everyone always talks about, how to be great. You got to be this the best player there is, and there's other ways to be great. OG proved it Mikal proves it. But OG is an unsung hero, and everybody that know hoops is like, yeah, obvious. We know this. But for the people that don't know and just look at stats and just don't really know nothing, to play how OG was playing, you defend, you board up, and you hit your open shots. You knock down your shots. You're never afraid of the moment. You might not be the guy on the team, but you're on the team.
Facts.
And you're playing 60 minutes. Okay. Your respect by your peers is what keeps you on the floor, and your defense and your timely shots, and you attack and be physical. You change the game that the box score doesn't always show. And that might be the greatest. That might be the greatest play just off of playing basketball. It's like you lose one of the guys that you know is always going to affect the game in a way that doesn't involve scoring. JB, I'm so glad you took that shot. I ain't gonna. When it went up, I was like, oh yeah, and then it hit the rim. I said no, and then you watching, you see him creeping. First of all, I don't know why. I think it was De'Aaron.
So I'm not gonna lie. I think that was a Mitch Johnson choice. I think they wanted to double and get it out of Brunson's hands, and that was actually. I know I was joking earlier and said it was a bad shot. That was a great shot, and his IQ is so high because he took that shot on purpose.
He was taking that shot
clock to get the rebound, but he knew because Wemby was on him, so he saw once the double came, especially off of OG, taking that shot was going to give them an opportunity to get a great offensive rebound because Wemby was on him. So there was no way that he was going to get back to the rim and be able to do any of that Wemby shit that he be doing.
See, this is why it grinds my gears. Well, professionals play this sport and act like they don't know what's going on. You have 3 of the 4 greatest offensive rebounders in the league on one team, and you completely ignore it. It just doesn't make sense. Yeah. He could have skipped through that joint. And I knew...
I really wanted him to boom. Boy.
Yeah, and I knew that Jalen Brunson was going to make that shot. Because I had a Raven flashback to 77 walking Rudy down. I said, boy, JB, you back, because you about to do the same thing, and you about to embarrass Wembanyama.
French people.
And he missed, but it's okay because the greatest Knick ever cleaned it up and solidified his greatness on that play.
Well, let's wrap up Game 4. Let's go into Game 5 real quick. We're just going to do a quick breakdown of Game 5 just because we're going to do some film breakdown on that on another episode. But, that was a closeout game, and all I got to say about that game, Jalen Brunson. Boy, that 40... All right, see, I ain't even going to... I'm going to sound crazy. I ain't even going to get too hyped.
I don't have an agenda to push here, so, JB... you a bad man, bro. I think we hear it we see it, we hear it. Especially me, Mark Cuban, you made a bad decision. The Mavs messed up not paying JB. That might be true. We messed up not paying JB. But as a Mavs fan and a fan of players like Jalen Brunson, I'm so happy that you made the decision to go home and play for the team you love, because if I ever
go home,
okay, you go, because I'm sure he don't live in New York. He in Jersey, but you cheer for the right team in New York and New Jersey, even though that team is no longer with us. But you go and you suit up for the most legendary, iconic team that there is, and being an undersized guard, being a second-round draft pick, being overlooked your whole entire career after you prove every step of the way that you are better than these niggas. they still doubt you, and you do what nobody has ever done and will ever do again. Yeah, bro, no one's gonna do that again.
Do what? Get the Knicks a chip?
No, they gonna get a chip, but I'm saying to step up. Okay, to step up to the challenge of not being afraid to be in the Garden and wear those colors after countless of stars have shied away from that moment. You never shied away from the moment. You are the moment, and you did what no one else will do again, is make them relevant after so long. Undersized, after no one said you can do it. You can't, you won't, and you did.
I feel like you took that personal
as a small guard, you know, there's not much to look up to. Especially in our time, we had small guards, but you have to have something. And no matter how skilled you are, you're never gonna have the God-given talent of height. And all of that height went to his heart, and he's mighty as a lion. Came in there and showed them. As a man who not a one and done, I play all four. Player of the year. And I still don't get the recognition I deserve and do it. Like, if I was a kid right now, boy, I tell you, there's nobody I'm going to want to play like other than Jalen Brunson. Big body Brunson. Y'all kids need to really go watch film and
his footwork is elite. And the thing, before we switch over topics, the one thing that I say that a lot of people doubted the Knicks in the sense of, and they use this one theory like, oh, if your best two players aren't defenders, you can't win. That's a lie. And the reason I say that, they have to be willing defenders. Cat and Brunson will play defense. They just sometimes are incapable. Now, Cat, I think he played a really good defensive series. Obviously on Wemby, he was able to be physical with him, push it out. He got a little bit in foul trouble towards the end of the series, the last couple games. I ain't even gonna touch on that. I don't think that was really his fault. But JB is a willing defender. If you ever watch a lot of clips on him, he does get up in the ball. He follows their schemes. A lot of times with him, and they try to put him in ball screens. He hedges and gets out of there quick. Whatever scheme they have, which is hedging to get out of there, he does it well. He doesn't stay on the ball too long. Sometimes during the season he did it, and it caused some open shots and things like that. But he willingly plays hard on that end of the court most of the time. Yeah. He'll step in and take charges. So just wrapping up the series, I think the Knicks really showed that even if you're not the more talented team, which I think they were, but to the masses they weren't, you can still come in and outplay a team just based off your experience, hard work, respecting the opponent.
Dedication, hard work.
I think the Spurs did not respect the opponent.
For sure.
That
they
was
did
the
it. They
main
did it.
issue. Every game they're coming in saying, oh, we did this, we did that. At some point you got to realize, as much as you think you didn't play well and you put these self-inflicted wounds on yourself, you have to respect the opponent because they're still coming out here and beating you. No matter if you feel like you gave up 20 leads, you still got beat because they made shots, they buckled down they made you make some of the mistakes. Yeah. So,
and they didn't respect them until the end, the very end.
They didn't respect them at the end.
You are a coward. Victor Wembanyama, you are a hooper. You are nice, but you are a coward for not going and shaking their hands after losing the finals. You gotta be better than that, bro. All of y'all gotta be better than that.
Yeah, as a team. But it is what it is. They're young, and I'm not gonna hold that against them because I do think they're gonna bounce back. They're gonna have years. They're
for sure.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they're a team that at some point, because you know how the last 8 years have been 8 different champions. If they're a team that goes back to back at some point, I wouldn't be surprised. Obviously, I'm not putting that in the air because I got the Knicks on back to back. But I could see that team with that dynamic. They're going to have Dylan Harper and Castle on their rookie contract for the next 3 to 4 years. Wemby is still on his. I think he can get extension
next year
or next year, right?
Yeah, next year.
So they're gonna be a force to be reckoned with. But this is the Knicks and Mavs breakdown, not a Spurs breakdown. So
And
fuck 'em.
the last, I'm glad you brought the defense thing up because that shit don't matter.
Yeah.
When you unguardable, you don't need to play defense. You got
Your defense is your offense.
you got people there, and depending on who you are, people are gonna stay quiet about your defense.
Yeah.
Because there's one player in particular we don't care about his defense, and some people like to call him the number 3 shooting guard ever.
No, we not even getting on him.
They don't care about his defense because he's unguardable.
Yeah.
JB, you are unguardable. You give the effort of defense. And the last thing I will say is everybody better than Jalen Brunson till they got to be better than Jalen Brunson.
Jalen Brunson.
My God.
All right, man. So we have a segment that we call Pros versus Joes. Pros versus Joes. Yeah. I don't know why I messed that up. On first episode jitters, you know how that goes. But so we're just gonna do like a little 5-minute conversation on De'Aaron Fox's end of the game in Game 4. And pretty much the premise of this segment is the perspective of from myself, which we're gonna call the pro, which because I coached at a college level, played in college, things like that. So I'm gonna give my perspective on
Overseas contracts turned down. You can talk your shit. But
anyway, so pretty much at the end of that game of Game 4, what was your perspective on that before I give mine? And when I say perspective on that, I want to pretty much with him dribbling out the clock, late game turnovers, shots taken. What was your thought process on what went wrong there, or what he did there?
I don't fault him for going up for the layup. I do fault him for going up for the layup too. It's tough because De'Aaron Fox is one of them players that he's proven he's been there. He's not afraid of the moment, and he saw an opportunity to win the game, and it didn't work out. Now I fault him because you should know better. It wasn't a breakaway. He was not alone. You wasn't focused, and that caused you to get your shit pinched. And the not acknowledging the bad side of it is where Spurs fans are gonna come at you for it. Like you gotta acknowledge the fact that you fucked up. Like you showed no remorse or nothing. Like you was just like, yeah, bro, I saw a chance to go up 3. You could have still went up 3, bro. They were gonna foul you. You can knock down the free throws, but it's not just his fault. You don't smoke a 30-point lead by getting your shit punched in the last couple seconds of the game. Yeah. But this particular moment, yeah, bro, you got to do better. You gotta be aware of your surroundings. You're a point guard. This is what we analyze as a floor general. This is what we see. You're racing to keep the ball inbounds, and you look and you see a 6'8" beast running at you full head of steam. Like you gotta be aware, at least pump fake or something to get him in the air to foul you right then and there, so you don't have to worry about smoking the layup or turning the ball over or anything like that. You were selfish, bro. And it wasn't your time. It wasn't your time.
So the beginning of my statement, I'm gonna just play devil's advocate.
Yeah.
So with him mentioning in the press conference after the game that he saw the open lane, he's fast. Obviously, we know that. So he thought he could outrun OG. Some coaches, they do preach at the end of games under a certain amount of time. If you could get the guaranteed points, get them.
Yeah. Because
it's not guaranteed that you'll make the free throw. Obviously, as pros, you're supposed to be guaranteed to make those free throws, but it's still a level of nervousness and shit like that goes into play. So some coaches, they'll say, you know, if you got the open lane or whatever it is, just go get the point and then play defense, make the other team have to score. Now, he is fast. So what I would have liked to see him do, obviously, which what most people are saying, even if you get fake like you're going to the rim, dribble on out, do the little Steve Nash dribble, and get to the wing, make OG have to chase behind you because you said you faster than him. So you really could have ran off a lot of that clock. And I've seen times where the Knicks even did it because how much time was on the clock? Like 12 seconds? Something like that. I would have to look. But
it was like 12 to 14, something like that.
Yeah, but I've seen times where dudes had a break like that, and they dribble it out, and then at that time your team is coming up the court, so there might be one or two people running at you. You get rid of it now. You could kind of ping pong the ball around. Now you run off damn near the rest of the clock, and they chase around you looking stupid. That's the best case scenario. But I would like to see him just dribble it out, invite that pressure, invite the foul, knock down them shots, and make the Knicks have to, make a more difficult play at the end of the game. You already gave up that 29-point lead. Now is when you, especially as a vet on the team, 28 years old, where everyone else is 20, 24 and under, you kind of want to be that person that really brings everyone together. Like, y'all chill, I got this. Because he already had moments before that where the team were probably looking at him crazy, like, what you doing? Like, the Josh Hart layup that he smoked was off of his turnover, was off of a De'Aaron Fox turnover, where he kind of just jumped in the air, didn't know what to do, and then had to throw it. And there was some other plays, but those plays I think of specifically where, just you being a vet on the team, you being someone that been to the playoffs, even though that y'all didn't win, you went 7 games with the Warriors. So you've been in those high pressure moments. So this is not, even though that's only one series, a 7-game series against the defending champs at the time, that means you did something right. Because the Warriors, they were coming off a championship. Steph Curry, Draymond got suspended a couple games, but he be wilding. But you went 7 games with a solidified team already, and then you just went 7 games with the champs from last year, and y'all got it done. So you know how to perform in these high pressure moments. So I think that blowing the 29-point lead, that took over his mind. That took over everybody's mind at that in the game. And I want to see Mitch Johnson at that point call a timeout. If you see him going towards the rim, because I've seen Tom Thibodeau do that with the Knicks last year. I've seen Mike Brown do it where we got a break or something like that, and they call the timeout in the middle of the break, and everyone tight because they're like, yo, we could have had them points. Yeah. But if you see him even going towards the rim and you want them to pull it out and get fouled, call the timeout, which is not the ideal situation because your point guard should know to just invite that foul. But in a coaching perspective, everything's moving so fast. But I would have liked to see him pull it out, or Mitch Johnson just go ahead and call that timeout and settle the team down, settle your crew down. I think he was riled up too, and you can't be frantic as a coach and expect your team to be fucking calm.
Especially when we see your after timeout plays work. We've seen them work, so you gotta make a decision. Yeah. I feel like once he picked the ball up, timeout. You see, this is a broken play. One, we got gifted this shit. Let's slow it down, and we have the biggest motherfucker in the world. Throw it at the rim. Get if he don't make it, it's a possibility he gets fouled. So it's not all your fault, De'Aaron. But
and even at that, another coaching side of things, even if Mitch Johnson called, it's Mitch Johnson, right? I've been calling him the right name this whole time, right?
Yeah.
Oh, because I'm like, why?
Because it sounds like Mitch Ross.
Whatever. But as a coach, also, if he calls that timeout, because right there, he probably had a defensive team on the court. Because sometimes, when you're coaching, you have different lineups that you put in different points of the game. Yeah. So I'm pretty sure he had his defensive lineup, which might not have the best free throw shooters. So now you call that timeout, you make subs, you get your best free throw shooters in the game. Even if I'm just using this as an example. I don't know what his percentage is, but you might have Harrison Barnes over there that's shooting 87%. even though he didn't play all game, get your best free throw shooters in the game.
Also was another coaching mistake.
He should have played.
He should have been playing.
Wemby hasn't been hitting his free throws. You might, even though you want to throw stuff at the rim for the, it's only 12 seconds on the clock. Wemby might have to come out. You might have to take him out, get your best free throw shooters in the game. And I think that's another thing Mitch Johnson kind of fucked up. He had that opportunity. You've seen De'Aaron Fox going on that break. Sometimes you got to save your players from doing bullshit.
Yeah.
Like, if everyone knew Josh Hart was going to smoke that layup, I guarantee Mike Brown would have called that timeout at half
But
court.
that was when, that's when you're like, yeah, let him fly. Until that shit came off the back of the, man, Josh.
We not doing this. We not doing that. This is
I love Josh Hart.
We not talking about no Knicks players that if it ain't good, he's a champion.
I was just gonna say.
No, we not talking about that. That's negative.
All right, it was constructive.
We talking about De'Aaron Fox, the loser. We talking about the loser.
De'Aaron, hold your head, bro. Y'all blew a 29-point lead. Like it wasn't just one play. It was what I said earlier. 30 possessions of bad playing. You just had the worst one.
Yeah.
Because it was so obvious in a moment of, wow, this makes or breaks us. Because nobody talks about Victor missing 2 clutch free throws.
This is Mitch Johnson. Get your free throw team in the game.
And
I like Wemby. Yes, he's a demigod.
Nah, bro, we not gonna. You know what I said? Freebies, we do. I don't care.
No, I hear that. What I'm saying is, if you know you got shaky niggas at the end of the game as a coach, you get your free throw shooters in the game. I don't care. Wemby shot 80-something% from the free throw line this season. I think. Yeah. Whatever. If he's been shaky, get your free throw shooters in the game as a coach. But
as a Joe, I agree with that. But as a Joe, I can see is like that's gonna take away his confidence. Like, yo, you don't think I can hit 2 free throws? No, nigga, you can't.
No, I want to shit. Like, get out your own
it's
ego.
true.
You been popping all this shit in these press conferences talking about everybody know we gonna come back.
But this is
You're
why
not making free throws, so you got to sit near me.
But this is the moment that they were trying to make for him.
Which is
you hit 2 clutch free throws to solidify the game. Yeah. Oh. Now it's now it's even. But it was just bad coaching and play. That's all. Like it was every single body on the court and making the calls. Y'all did terrible. Once it hit 20 to 18, you gotta call those timeouts. They're young, inexperienced. You gotta tell them like, look.
You gotta overcoach at that moment because you got some wild cards. Y'all super talented where your IQ isn't that high, and I think I don't want to downplay the Spurs in the sense of their IQ is low just because of experience. Yeah, that's the only reason.
For sure.
Now, you in that situation, you have to overcoach those guys. Mike Brown didn't have to overcoach the Knicks because they were an experienced team. Tibbs didn't overcoach the Knicks at all. He kind of had everything in play that they do, and they just ran into a T. They knew at the end of the game after a certain point, Brunson's gonna have the ball in his hands. He's gonna get into his pick and roll, or he's gonna have his ISOs. If they double, someone's flashing middle, whatever. Yeah. They knew what they were gonna do. He didn't have to overcoach. Mike Brown didn't have to overcoach. That Spurs team needed to get overcoached because I think if Mitch Johnson does a better job coaching them, the series goes longer. I still think the Knicks win because of experience, but they win one of those games that they lost. And I put a lot of this series on Mitch Johnson more than anything, and then De'Aaron Fox as a leader. I want to see him bounce back because I do like De'Aaron Fox like as a player and just following him from when he was in college. He comes off as a good person. Yeah. So just being on the human side of things, which I really don't need to do at this moment because I really want to pop my shit. But I see both sides of the coin. I want to see him bounce back. Yeah. I know the San Antonio fans are probably going to turn on him. He's probably not going to be there long because Dylan Harper kind of proved that he's the guard of the future. But just to wrap up this segment, I do want to see him bounce back. He made some terrible decisions as a vet and a leader. but it's all stuff that's fixable. If he is on the team next year for the playoff run, he'll bounce back. But
There
I
are
want
many.
to see him do well.
There are many teams that's gonna line up to go get him.
That with that contract, his
Yeah.
stock is at an all-time low.
Nah.
To move him, you probably gonna have to piece something with him to move that contract.
There's gonna be some teams, but yeah, keep your head up. It was a little mistake, but it's cool, bro. It wasn't your time.
It wasn't. Knicks State. To wrap up, we're gonna we didn't talk about many Mavs. Obviously, they're in their off season a little earlier than we would like, but we want to just talk about a few topics with them briefly. To start off, we Kyrie. What you think the Mavs are gonna do with him this off season? A lot of people are saying move him and kind of just get young, get some pieces for him, and let Cooper figure everything out. Go through the draft, but more so, I ain't gonna say what you think. What do you want to see them do?
Say to all them who say they should move him, is you dumb? They gotta keep him. He has been nothing but great since he stepped in to the Mavs organization. He's a constant professional, most skilled in the league, and just being around there and watching everything play out how it's been playing out. He's been a stand-up guy. He hasn't once said he wants to leave. We got to keep him. Everyone needs a vet, and it's rare that your vet is still one of the best players in the league.
Mm-hmm.
He got hurt, so we didn't get to see him play this year, but he's 100%, if not, he's damn near 100%. And you don't just squander away talent and everything he means off the court for a 19 to 23-year-old who is not going to give you the same production and mean as much to the team as he does. He is our leader. Him and Coop's dynamic is great. And once we see what it is on the court, everybody not going to be mad we didn't get rid of him. And if we did get rid of him, I'll be sick to my stomach. And I know whoever we get in return is not going to be worth it.
But let me ask you this. Because obviously this is my chance to be non-biased. The human side of things, I know I always keep saying the human side of things. You wouldn't want Kyrie's 34, right?
Yeah.
So in the sense of outside looking in, y'all aren't contenders right now.
Mm-hmm.
You don't think that the Mavs organization, especially with them trying to turn over the leaf, with them doing Luka bad, shit like that, you don't think they will want to kind of bless him and let him go to a situation where he can contend right now, with him being a little bit towards the end of his prime, going towards the end of his career within the next couple of years?
If that's what he wants, then I can't be mad at that. But if he's not asking out, you don't ship him.
Well, I don't think he'll act out, but I think you kind of sit down with him and kind of figure that out. As an organization, you sit down and be like, yo, you did what you needed to do for us. You helped us get to the finals. The team that you originally, because he re-signed with y'all, right?
Yeah.
So you re-signed thinking that Luka's going to be here, some other pieces are going to be in here.
Yeah.
That's not the case anymore. We're in a different stage that we were in. Would you want us to move you? Do you we won't put out to the public that you asked us to trade you, but would you prefer us to move you to a contender? You don't think that's more so the move the organization should make?
If they do, they have to tell us. It can't be nobody is gonna fault Kai for wanting to compete for a championship after the clusterfuck what happened. But low stock in the organization, if you trade away one of the greatest players you would ever have in your organization,
right,
and then trade away Kyrie for whatever.
Yeah.
So I do think some things is deeper than hoops, and it is a business, but do whatever he wants.
Facts.
So, and if he wants to go, let us know. Nobody's gonna fault him. But if you just throw him away for another hurt point guard and a couple picks, it's like.
Do you know his contract off the top of your head?
I think 40. He's getting 46.
46.
I think it's 40. It is a friendlier deal.
How much De'Aaron Fox make?
Yeah, no, bro.
He's hurt, bro. He's coming off the injury. He's gonna be fired next year, dog.
So let me say this: we just seen De'Aaron Fox battle an injury, right?
It's an ankle. That's nothing, and he don't normally get injured.
We see him battling in the playoffs, and to me, he was stinking.
Before you finish your statement,
yeah.
Do you remember what Kyrie looked like in that finals?
Now, I was just about to say, do we want a repeat of another guard who didn't show up how they were supposed to play?
Respect.
So, everyone talk about the age. Motherfuckers is playing till 40 now.
Yeah, fact.
And as a guard who posts up, his shelf life, if he wants, is a couple more years. It's
a little bit longer. He's skilled. Yeah, he got the little mid-range game.
So I'm cool with that. Now, if it's like I don't know. If he wants to leave, I'm not mad at it.
Yeah.
Because he deserves to. Everybody on the Mavs deserves something because of what happened.
Right.
So I just don't like blowing up shit before we get to see it.
Yeah.
Because we blew up the AD shit before we really got to see what really Nico could have brought to fruition. And I don't jack Nico at all. But I'm just saying, we blew that up before. So now it just looks like there's no hope. And
I think
we don't.
The AD one, obviously, that's not the segment we're talking about, but that was more. They wanted to wash their hands with everything from that Luka situation,
and that's cool. But it's still another what if.
Yeah, that's a fact.
And right now, we don't need another what if. And what Masai's saying, we still haven't seen these two play together. I want to see what that looks like.
Mm-hmm.
I think we should. Now, if it's not going the way we thought, yeah, we could trade him at the deadline. Like, I'm totally fine with that. But I just don't want him to go before we get to see them both on the court.
Facts.
Because we're not going to get a guard if we trade him for picks in just a salary dump.
Yeah.
We're not going to get a guard that Cooper actually needs.
I think the draft is going to handle that, but that's,
Yeah, but that's a rookie. A rookie or an NBA champ who we know what can do.
Right now, you go with the rookie.
Yeah, but
y'all got a lottery pick, bro. You go, if you can get the guard that y'all think y'all need through the draft, because Cooper's only going to be in his second year.
Yeah.
I know as a fan, you want to win right now, but y'all are in a rebuild mode. So
I don't want to win now.
You get a rookie guard with your second year Cooper. Y'all fill them, like your role players, you get some experience there. Mm-hmm. I love Kyrie to death. I don't think y'all necessarily need to keep him. That's what I'm saying. Because he is going to waste some years with y'all because they're not going to make a move right now to make y'all a contender. But I do think y'all have some pieces to compete right now. I do think y'all can get in the playoffs right now. Once you're in the playoffs, anything can happen.
But either way, we're not what we were last year. Coming into the season, we're gonna be better because we'll have an actual point guard. But I just don't want to see it another what if.
Facts. I feel
and
that.
if we're saying we're gonna put the keys in the hands of Cooper and the young guard that we get, it's like we can still do that. It's only 1 year or half a season that we need to see what happens. It's not
because you can move him at the deadline.
Yeah, like I'm not saying keep Kai and not look for a guard of the future. We're going to get the guard of the future with this pick. If not, we trade back and get more assets. But they can learn even if it's 15, 20 games, they can learn something from Kai before
or at least
he
help him
leaves.
get his stock up. Like, let him start the season.
Exactly, because he's coming off an injury. We don't like. Yes, teams are gonna call regardless, but we can get more if he's back to hooping.
Facts. All right, I feel you on that. But yeah, so this is a great conversation, a great first episode. We're gonna work kinks out. We're gonna get better as time go on. But this is a 73 and 11 breakdown. Like I said, we're not changing the name. Shout out to the Knicks. We got the chip.
Shout out to the Knicks, man.
Everybody's saying that they were burn the city down. The city Gucci. The bus got burnt down, but the city, we still standing. We coming for that parade.
Burn it down.
Haters. We got the parade Thursday coming up, so hopefully by the time this comes out, the parade might happen, it might not happen. I don't know. We're gonna work on that. But like I said, this is 73 and 11 breakdown. This is Jay Dollars with the Mavs. This is Rob with the Knicks. We're gonna holler.
Peace.